A little over a month is left before episode 7 drops, and pretty soon we're going to get the usual warm-up, leaks, small teasers, and most importantly, the full trailer. We've already talked about a bunch of official leaks, random lines from people involved in the digital circus, and a lot of theories about episode 7. But not many people think about the fact that Gooseworx actually told us a long time ago that episode 7 turned out so massive, the creators had to split it into 2 parts. That's why during Glitch Direct 2025, they revealed the release date not just for episode 7, but also for episode 8, which is basically a direct continuation of episode 7. Before we start the video, I want to make one thing clear. Yeah, I get it. Episode 8 is still 4 months away, but we already got some leaks and we kinda understand the direction the story's headed in and what might lead us to the ending of the digital circus. So why not just chill for a bit and think it all through, right? First off, let's quickly run through the main leaks and then dig into the details. Based on this post, episode 8 is supposed to be around 40 minutes long, and that's if all the remaining episodes end up having the same runtime. But episode 8 is crazy important for us because it's the one that actually sets everything up for the final episode that'll wrap up the whole digital circus story, so there's a good chance the runtime might stretch to like 45 minutes. There's nothing really interesting in this leak, but in another post, Gooseworx described episode 8 as O, while also hinting that Jax is going to suffer pretty badly in that episode. I hope nobody's taking these leaks seriously, because it's obviously just a joke from the creators. We also have a random line from episode 8, and this one is actually interesting because Gooseworx revealed the words, "It's you." Who said it, who it was said to, and under what circumstances. All of that is still a huge mystery, and that's exactly what we're going to try to figure out today. On top of that, we were shown a small range of Jax's emotions in episode 8.
Ah! Ah! Yahoo! Yahoo! I don't know.
Judging by everything, episode 8 is going to be about revealing some kind of truth, most likely about the digital circus, and this leak fits that theory perfectly. But the most interesting part is that line itself. Gooseworx's reply is literally filled with shock coming from one of the characters, and even though I can't prove it, I'm pretty sure that line belongs to Pomni. If we go back to that leak with Jax's emotions, we can see that in episode 8, this character is going to be in some kind of wild euphoria. And it's pretty likely that the reason for this is him finally getting rid of all his fears, the cool guy act, and the mask he's been wearing for so long, just to stay sane in the digital circus. Meaning he'll finally let himself be real, not the Jax everyone's used to, but the one who exists underneath all the constant irony and mockery. But here's the problem. If that euphoria is just the result of completely dropping all self-control, then it might not be freedom at all, but actually the beginning of the end. Because the moment a character stops holding himself back and stops thinking about consequences, his code becomes way more vulnerable to breaking. And that might be exactly why Gooseworx hinted that Jax is going to suffer. If you don't fully get what I mean when I say character code and how it can break, then after watching this video, make sure to check out this one. That's where I explain in detail how abstraction works in the digital circus. Jax was one of the most loved characters among digital circus fans for a long time, but let's be honest, up until episode 5 and especially episode 6, he was just a regular character whose storyline didn't really affect the bigger plot of the circus. But now everyone can't stop thinking about him. What's happening to him? What's going to happen next? And what kind of ending he's heading toward? Like I said in episode 8, Jax is going to experience huge euphoria. But before that, he has to get through episode 7, which is going to be a turning point for his character. And judging by what we already know, it's not going to be easy at all. I'm sure that the Jax, who always hides behind the mask of a cool guy, doesn't really belong to our rabbit, but is just a defense mechanism, because now we realize that Jax actually has huge problems, and his life is literally at risk. I'm 100% sure that all those words and actions were done on purpose, just to push away everyone else stuck in the digital circus. With Zubul, he's had a pretty interesting dynamic for a while. With Gangle, I already talked about. Kinger acts like a crazy old man 99% of the time, so there's not much effort needed there. Ragatha he doesn't take seriously at all, and only with Pomni things were going perfectly fine up until that moment.
Oh, we make such a good team!
Well, to be fair, our competition wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah, true. I suppose this is the part where one of us betrays the other. We could just be winners as a team.
We're not a team, come on.
What do you mean? Yes, we are.
Delusional.
Weren't we kind of bonding over being chaotic evil together?
I was merely entertaining you because I thought it was funny.
It's pretty clear that all this so-called drama started right when Pomni began getting closer, and looking back at that scene, we now clearly see that Jax is actually a good guy you can have fun with or talk to, but nothing more. And it's not because it would get boring or he'd turn out dull, it's simply because Jax won't let it happen. And that's where his biggest problem comes in. Most likely he gets really attached to the characters close to him, and after they turn into an abstracted monster, his world keeps falling apart piece by piece. That's exactly why he can't handle any mentions of his friends and exactly why he reacted the way he did at Kaufmo's funeral, or when Ribbit was brought up in episode 5. And now that we understand Jax's main problem and his personality, we can go back to the scene from the start of the video where Jax had a panic attack. That was the first time we noticed such unusual behavior from the rabbit, but I'm sure there were a few more incidents like that which just never made it on screen. If we think about it a bit and piece together the chain of events, it becomes obvious that this episode happened right after his failed talk with Pomni, which clearly left him upset. In that case, we realize that when Jax is sad, he's super vulnerable, and that's exactly why he keeps hiding behind that so-called cool guy mask. Only when he's in that so-called fun mood can Jax forget about the problems closing in on him from every side, and the biggest problem is his weakness. Knowing all this, a fair question comes up. Could Jax really get abstracted in episode 7? Yeah, he could, but that's not the only possible outcome. First, let's remember the leak where Goose straight up said that starting from episode 6, chaos would begin in the digital circus, and in that case, what can we call chaos at this point? If we count the start of these events with Jax as chaos, then his transformation into an abstracted monster seems more and more logical. But I think it's way more complicated than that, and Goose clearly meant something else by those words. We're gonna see some major changes in the digital circus, and it's hard to believe Jax won't be part of it. One thing's for sure, Jax needs support from someone else, and most likely we'll see some kind of attempt at that, and that therapist definitely ain't gonna be Kane. I think Pomni and Regatha will talk this problem over and decide that the only one who can really help Jax in this situation is Kinger, who actually knows how to handle stuff like this.
Maybe you just needed a break. It sounds to me like you put a lot of pressure on yourself to be there for everyone, and when you're not, you beat yourself up for it. You said you failed Pomni. Why do you feel that way? It was my fault we went down this path, wasn't it? I'm really sorry for that.
Why have you been acting so different lately?
I have, haven't I? I'm normally not too good with memories.
However, it's pretty unlikely our rabbit will let anyone get close to him, and way more likely we'll see him slowly losing that very spark that made him the favorite character for digital circus fans in the first place.